Naruto not being a Jinchuriki so far has led to some rather expected outcomes that you probably thought would happen. Due to no fear of backlash, Naruto is adopted and kept in-house with Hiruzen. But this, along with the speed he grows, leads to him being a bit of a brat, which nearly costs him the chance to be taught by Kakashi. Only after humbling himself does he get accepted as Kakashi's student. So let's see where this goes now. Welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check that you are indeed subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Naruto was bored out of his mind. This was just absolutely the pits. I knew that shinobi had to do odd jobs sometimes, but this is not what I had in mind, he said. Kakashi, sitting under the shade of a tree, nose deep in some erotic rubbish he called a good story, spoke without even removing his eyes from the weathered pages. It's what genin do. Just from the look of it, he had already read this one before, perhaps multiple times, based on how the paperback spine was wrinkled, frayed, and the glue holding each page to the flimsy book was starting to wear away. It was beginning to look like a relic from centuries past due to wear and tear. I know, but I mean, it's literally all we're doing. Don't we get to go out of the village and, actually help people, he asked. No job is too big or too small. Shinobi are civil servants. We work to help others, not ourselves. Just keep it up. Whether you're fighting off a band of rebels attempting to bring down a foreign-friendly government or merely walking a dog, service is service, and it's something to be proud of. I know, Naruto said in a tone that showed obvious disappointment, but is it so wrong for me to wish that we would get a real job where we could actually do something outside the village? A chance at a real mission? Like the ones you did when you were younger? Kakashi looked over his book for the first time since the conversation began. Like I did when I was younger. Naruto nodded. Yep. I read your file. You were Dad's student after all, and you're my master. You're the connection to Dad I never knew, so how could I not study up on you? Kakashi returned his gaze to the book. If you read my file, then you should know why those kinds of missions aren't all they're cracked up to be. If I had a chance to go back, I would want nothing but missions like you have now. Why? Naruto asked. Kakashi was mid-page turn when Naruto asked that question. He sat for a moment before completing the action, because it was the Third Shinobi World War. A lot of people died, and I had to kill a lot of people. Those are things that can't be unseen, can't be undone. You'll never be the same when you watch people die, no matter who it is or what side they're on. Just because they're another nationality or from a different village doesn't change that they're still human like you and me. Humans with goals, dreams, and aspirations. All things that will never be fulfilled because they were cut down in the prime of their life. When you do those things, you think darkly. What if this person was going to discover the cure to cancer? Or what if this person was going to have a child that would bring peace to the whole world? Every life taken affects the world, Naruto, in ways we can never know. That's why I envy you and your innocence. You never had to see that. And though you're growing up in the era of the Fourth Shinobi World War, your days are spent relatively peacefully. I hope you'll never have to see that. Kakashi's gaze caught upon Sasuke, the last bearer of the copy wheel eye. I don't want you to experience what I had to experience. Naruto looked to Sasuke and remembered how Kakashi's file mentioned the fate of his team, and the final gift, the last memento he kept from them, a treasured jutsu. Naruto's heart melted for his master. Yes, master. I understand. Forgive me for being rash. Kakashi's expression softened. No need to apologize, Naruto. Every fresh recruit seeks action. I just want you to fully appreciate the here and now. So often we take what we have for granted, not knowing what it's worth until it's gone. And so from that point, Naruto did not complain about his mission. He completed it with silence and contemplation, which made Kakashi proud. Kakashi realized this about Naruto. He had been prideful and he sought needless action. He always wanted to prove himself, but he was also very open to learning and trying to be the best him he could be. There were times where he could be blind about himself, who he was, and the issues present in this perfection facade he had grown to believe was true. But when faced with imperfection, he was quick to accept it and adapt to become what true perfection could be considered. Bearing weights on his shoulders, the legacy of the fourth Hokage and the reputation of the third Hokage, Naruto was constantly attempting to become better and better, and that was a quality Kakashi admired. Forget his pride. When faced with reality, he quickly changed to become better. That was a trait worth anything. It didn't matter how entitled or prideful he acted. If Kakashi pointed out his flaws, Naruto worked to fix them in a humble and benevolent way. This gave Kakashi hope for the future. but all the same, he worried about Sasuke. Sasuke's path was one that led him quietly down a dark road, alone, and unlike Naruto, he was not as open to examining himself. It's not as if Sasuke actually cared what anyone thought, and that was sad and terrifying at the same time. Well, time passes as it continues to do. Nobody can hold back the hands of the clock, and eventually it moves forward, bringing with it new change. It just so happened that a mission to the Land of Waves came around, and Hiruzen felt confident enough to send Team 7. After all, it's just a slight guarding mission to ensure that the bridge worker is not attacked by bandits on the way back to his village. And so Kakashi accepts the mission. He knows that Naruto and the others are likely very restless, and that Naruto would like to have a mission with the possibility of action, even if he no longer said so. And so Kakashi takes the mission. The four of them meet with the bridge worker named Tazuna and begin to make their way to the Land of Waves. On the way, they pass through a warm and slightly steamy area, the heat quickly warming the cool water through there, creating a thick layer of fog. Despite the simplicity of this mission, Kakashi can't help but be on edge. He feels like at any moment something might just jump out of the fog at them and kill them, but perhaps that's just his own paranoia speaking. After all, they're not still at war, and this isn't a high-risk mission. This is an easy mission, all things considered. As they walk though, things begin to stand out to Kakashi. He can't place a finger on it, but certain things just feel out of place. It's then that they're ambushed. Kakashi is ensnared in a chain. At the last moment, he makes use of substitution jutsu to escape his own demise. As soon as he reappears though, he makes his way toward Naruto and the rest of them, knowing that whoever could pull off such a jutsu like this couldn't be standard bandits. He sees them jump toward Naruto and Naruto freezes. He's going to be killed, Kakashi thinks within himself. He's going to be killed, Kakashi thinks within himself. He's going to be killed. Kakashi's hand is coated in lightning-style chakra as he prepares a Chidori, but even with the speed of this ninjutsu, he can't be absolutely certain that he'll make it in time. As he moves forward, Sasuke surprises him by jumping into the air and catching these two mercenaries and beating them senseless before tying them up with their own weapon. Kakashi is surprised by the strength and power of Sasuke to be able to do that, but what matters now is checking up on Naruto. He walks over and kneels down to see Naruto staring at the ground, wide-eyed, unblinking. "Naruto, are you okay?" I froze, he said. Kakashi didn't expect this statement. He was expecting something to the effect of, "I almost died." "Yes, you froze," Kakashi said. "It's a natural reaction. Some people do that. It's the fight or flight response getting hung up. Everyone does it." Naruto looked up. "I don't want to do it." "You can't exactly stop yourself, Naruto." "I won't do it." Kakashi looked at him curiously. Naruto would take a kunai and stab it into the back of his hand. "What are you doing?" Kakashi demanded to know. "I swear it. I'm never gonna freeze again. I swear it on this wound and on this blood." Kakashi watched as the blood fell from the wound and splattered onto the ground. "Well, that's all well and good, Naruto, but if you don't stop the bleeding, you're going to die." Naruto's face turned pale. "Die?" A moment passed. "Hurry up and save me then!" Naruto cried out. Kakashi took the hand and looked it over. It was bleeding pretty badly. Getting out the first aid kit, he applied some alcohol to the wound and then a styptic to stop the bleeding. He proceeded to stitch it up as best he could and then wrapped it up in a cloth bandage. "There. That should fix it, but next time you feel the need to swear on something, try swearing on your life or your mother's grave. Something that won't kill you in the process of swearing." Naruto nodded and took this to heart. "Now, as for you," Kakashi said as he turned around to face Tazuna, "you knew about this, didn't you?" Tazuna shook his head. How was I supposed to know?" Kakashi stood there, staring into the man's eyes. "Don't lie to me," he said. "These weren't your average bandits. These were highly skilled and trained shinobi, mercenaries. I recognize their name from the bingo book. They're expensive. They don't just try to kill people for no reason. They were hired. So tell me now, who was it that hired them, and why do they want you dead?" Tazuna then began to tell a tale. "The village I come from is technically an island. It's just off the coast of the Land of Fire. We used to be a happy little village, but a few years back, a brutal crime lord moved in. He began charging absurd taxes on us to do business, taking a large piece of our already meager pie. He gets most of his funds from extortion, not allowing anyone to pass to the mainland and back unless they pay a hefty tax. And so, we're attempting to simply build a bridge over the ocean so we no longer have to take his ferries, but Gato doesn't want that. And so he sent mercenaries after me to kill me, in the hopes of stopping the bridge from being built." "Why didn't you mention that back at the village?" Tazuna shook his head. "Because that would have upgraded the rank from Genin to Chunin. I couldn't afford that." "You know we have these rankings for a reason, correct? What you've done is a form of fraud, and it's illegal. I have every right to arrest you right now and return us all to Konoha." "Please, don't," the old man pleaded. "I can't go back. If you don't protect me, I'll be killed and the bridge will never be finished. We need your help.
I couldn't afford a Chunin team, so I lied, and I'm sorry for that, but I didn't feel like I had a choice. Please, you have to understand.
Kakashi squeezed his tear ducts to try and calm the headache he was beginning to develop. I understand that, sir. I'm not going to arrest you at this time, but we are going back to Konoha. We can't continue. These are inexperienced genin, and this mission puts their lives in danger. With all due respect, Kakashi-sensei, Naruto said from behind, didn't you say that we as shinobi are civil servants? And that no job is too big or too small? Kakashi rubbed the nape of his neck. Well, yes, I did say that, but we do need to weigh our own experience level, the type of mission this is, and our success rate. I would be an irresponsible mentor if I let you all throw your lives away for a mission like this. Naruto looked back. Look at Sasuke, Kakashi-sensei. He alone defeated those two mercenaries. I won't say we're not experienced, but we are strong. I am roughly equal to Sasuke in power. I just froze, and that won't happen again. This mission could offer us proper experience and help us grow as shinobi. Kakashi thought about it. I don't know. Please, Kakashi-sensei, Naruto begged, attempting to turn on his biggest eyes and his most adorable stare. Kakashi relented. Fine, if you want to complete this mission, we will. But you will all listen to every word I say without question. And if I say we're done and are leaving, we are. And if I tell you to run, you run. Do not bring pride into this. If you die, it's shame on my name, so you listen to everything I have to say and let me do the fighting, alright? Every member of Team 7 agreed, and so they continued upon their way to the Land of Waves. As they went along though, they found Zabuza, who was there to kill Tazuna. Kakashi put his hand out to stop the others. Remember, I do all the fighting. They agreed and got back. Kakashi would step up to Zabuza and begin to battle him, and this battle goes almost exactly as you remember it. Kakashi teases Zabuza with his Sharingan, but in the end is caught in a water prison. He can see outside, but can't push out of it. He's stuck. He can't speak and can hardly signal. He knows his team is going to attempt to rescue him, and he can't make them stop. He slowly begins to lose consciousness. He passes through darkness and begins to believe that he's going to die, but a moment later, he opens his eyes and sees the others standing around him. What? What happened? He sits up. They tell him that they rescued him by outsmarting Zabuza and forcing him to remove his hand, and that a Kirigakure ninja appeared and killed Zabuza, taking his body. Kakashi is relieved, but at the same time, he's completely enraged. You should have left me behind, he shouted. You should have ran. You should have prioritized your lives over mine. And what about Tazuna? Naruto asked. He would have run with you. You should know as well as we do that if we ran, Zabuza would have caught up to us and killed us anyway, Sasuke said. If we ran, we would have died. The only chance we had was to free you before you were killed. Kakashi calmed down a bit, unable to argue with that logic. Perhaps he underestimated his team a bit. Well, it's in the past now. Come on, let's get to the village. Kakashi attempted to stand, but his legs almost went out from under him. They were like jello. Tazuna caught him. What's wrong? The old man asked. Kakashi shook his head and realized his Sharingan was still exposed. He quickly covered it. My Sharingan takes a lot of my chakra since I wasn't naturally born with it. I can't shut it off, so I have to cover it to preserve chakra. I overexerted myself. Tazuna doesn't entirely understand everything Kakashi says, but realizes that he overworked himself and is dangerously tired. Tazuna would help carry Kakashi back to his home where he would let him rest. Kakashi would sleep for quite some time to regain his strength. All the while, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura would train as they normally did, but the day eventually came when Kakashi awakened and would tell Tazuna that he was ready to protect him further. And so the group heads to the bridge, as of yet still under construction. There, they would wait until trouble rolls around. Zabuza and Haku appear. Double trouble. Kakashi knows that this rematch is going to be brutal. Haku passes by him toward the other group. Kakashi knows he can't handle them both. He hopes that this team can at least survive long enough for him to finish off Zabuza. Once again, they fight, and the battle goes as it does in the original series. However, when Sasuke hits the ground and it looks like he died, Naruto doesn't awaken the Nine Tails. Naruto, in his rage, stands and rushes one of the mirrors only to be struck by Senbon, causing him also to fall. Zabuza realizes this and stops his battle with Kakashi, telling him that now Naruto and Sasuke are defeated and he holds them as hostages. Unless Kakashi turns Tazuna over, he will have Naruto and Sasuke killed. Kakashi looks back at them and then back to Zabuza. He couldn't do it. Even if his team were Genin, he wouldn't give up his charge to save them, could he? He thought back about it. What would Obito do? In the shinobi world, those that break the written and unwritten rules are deemed trash. But be that as it may, those who would disregard their comrades so easily are even worse than trash. That was something that Kakashi had always said, what he'd been taught by Obito. But could he really sacrifice Tazuna for this? It was a conundrum to be sure, and one Kakashi didn't think he had a way to answer. But thankfully, he didn't have to. Tazuna appeared and did so for him. He turned himself over to Zabuza in hopes of protecting Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura. Wait, Tazuna, you don't have to do this, Kakashi shouted. Tazuna looked back. I do, Kakashi, I do.
I lied on the form. I said that this was just going to be a mission protecting me from bandits, but it was far worse. I put you all in this position where you could die protecting me against threats you were not ready for. If I can save your lives by sacrificing my own, then consider it my atonement for putting you in this position in the first place.
Zabuza would then kill Tazuna. Naruto and Sasuke would be freed by Haku, and Kakashi was allowed to flee with his team back to Konoha, where they reported the mission to have been of a greater grade than originally anticipated, and that the outcome of the mission was failure. Hiruzen thankfully understood. He would dismiss them from the debriefing and allow them to go back to their lives. However, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura were not quite the same after that.
Kakashi-sensei,
Naruto would ask,
is this what you meant when you said that you would never be the same when you watch people die?
Kakashi would nod to Naruto. Indeed, death is a very unfortunate part of what we do as shinobi. Sometimes we're forced to kill, sometimes we're forced to die, sometimes we're forced to watch people we care about die and wonder if we could have done something to prevent it. There's so many things that run through our minds when these things happen, and it's easy to lose yourself in a sea of unpleasant thoughts.
How do you get past the guilt?
Naruto asked. Kakashi thought about it. I can't say that I ever have. The best we can do is have faith that we did our best, and that what happened wasn't our fault.
But sensei, it was our fault. If I didn't push us to continue that mission, Tazuna wouldn't have died.
Kakashi looked down. We can't be sure of that. There's a chance he would have had to go back to the Land of Waves all by himself, and would have died along the way. It's impossible to say for certain, but I know that we tried our best to save him. Take some solace in that, in knowing that we fought to save him, and then just learn to cope with the guilt.
Is this what we're going to have to see more of when we're deployed for the 4th Shinobi World War?
Naruto asked. Kakashi merely nodded. Yes. But it's important to realize that you're human and you make mistakes. Just promise to do your best and try to leave it all on the battlefield. Naruto agreed, and that was the end of the conversation. Kakashi was pleased to see that Naruto had grown to understand the gravity of this situation. The whole team had. Naruto was right about one thing. They had achieved invaluable experience from this. Their abilities displayed during the mission in fighting the Demon Brothers, Zabuza, and Haku had proven to Kakashi that they were above the expected range for Genin. He knew that they soon would be brought in for the Chunin exams, and that they'd be sent to the battlefield after that, and so they were. They were tested for the Chunin exams and prepared for their first sortie against the forces of Kumo. But before they could leave the village, word reached the Hokage's door.
The Nine Tails has reappeared.
Hiruzen was shocked.
It's reappeared.
The shinobi nodded. Hiruzen smiled as he realized that with the Nine Tails, they could finally once again possess a deterrent and possibly end the war. But suddenly, that smile turned into a scowl.
Launch an emergency operation. Call up any forces Konoha has on standby.
Team 7 were called up and brought into HQ to speak with Ibiki Marino, head of intelligence. Marino would inform them that they were placing Team 7 at the center of the mission. Team 7, of course, was confused as to why they would be at the center of this, but Marino explained to them simply that they were the best shot they had of controlling the Nine Tails.
Sasuke Uchiha is the last of the Uchiha, and is one of the few people to possess the Sharingan. Kakashi Hatake also possesses not only the Sharingan, but its Mangekyo form, and could possibly cast the beast under Genjutsu just long enough. And young Naruto Uzumaki is an Uzumaki, and possesses access to all of the natural sealing techniques that they have.
I can't, Naruto said. I've hardly studied sealing jutsu.
That's okay, Marino said. We have another team that possesses knowledge of sealing jutsu on with you. But you, as an Uzumaki, are the only one to possess adamantine chain. You've developed them, yes?
Naruto nodded. Lord Hiruzen made me train with them, saying it was part of my culture and bloodline, and that it was my birthright to know it.
Marino would nod. That's fine. That's all we ask you to use. Given that your mother was the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, you've been identified as capable of controlling the beast. So the plan goes like this. Team 7 will be the main point of contact. Our Konoha Nin will prioritize protecting Team 7 from not only the tailed beast, but any hostile forces that could possibly be in the area. Sasuke and Kakashi will get close enough to the beast and activate their Sharingan and Mangekyo Sharingan and begin weaving Genjutsu to try and subdue the beast mentally. Naruto will then use adamantine chains to hold the beast down and will, along with aid from the sealing team, pull the Nine Tails into his body and safely reclaim Konoha's greatest asset. We will then return to Konoha, where we will plan next moves in ending the war.
Kakashi nodded. We will do everything in our power to play our parts perfectly. And so they began to mobilize. There was a forest to the northwest of Konoha, where the beast was said to have been last, so they made their way there. Before they even got within a mile of the predicted location, they could see the beast. Naruto saw it in the distance and pissed himself then and there to his embarrassment. It wasn't as if Kakashi could blame him though. Kakashi wanted to piss himself too. Focus on the mission at hand. We have a plan, Naruto. Nobody's going to die. Naruto gulped and nodded. They began to make their way toward the beast. Marino would get a message over his headset. He would turn to Team 7.
Be advised. Unknown forces have been located in the area.
Is it Kumo, Suna, or Oto? Kakashi asked. Marino would listen to the report further.
Unconfirmed. All we know is that unknown combatants have been engaged to the east of this location. Proceed with caution.
They would continue making their way until they were within range of the beast. Kakashi looked at Sasuke and nodded. Get to a high location and attempt to make eye contact. Stay on radio. When I give you the signal, activate your flare. It'll hopefully draw the Nine-Tails' attention. Have Genjutsu ready. The moment you make eye contact with them, begin casting it. Naruto, stay in the forest until we give you the signal, then begin sealing. Naruto nodded. They began the operation. Kakashi climbed into a tall tree near the Eye of Kurama and then called out to Sasuke over the radio asking for his position. Sasuke would say that he was in position. Kakashi would ask if he were ready with the rehearsed Genjutsu. Sasuke stated he was. Kakashi would then give the signal and the two of them would activate their flares. The massive pupils of the Nine-Tails turned in their directions. It first met with Sasuke, who began laying the groundwork for the Genjutsu. It then turned to Kakashi, whose Mangekyo Sharingan cemented the Genjutsu's hold and kept it there. The two different Sharingan of both Kakashi and Sasuke appeared within the eyes of the Nine-Tails. Kakashi gave the signal to Naruto. Naruto rushed out with the team. Suddenly, Kakashi told Naruto to abort. Abort? What? Why? The Nine-Tails broke free from Sasuke's Genjutsu first and then Kakashi's. Naruto pulled back. What? Kakashi stood there, and across the trees from him was an unknown enemy combatant that seemed to have broken through their defenses. He wore a black cloak and a spiral mask.
I appreciate you locating it for us, but that beast is ours.
Kakashi stood there cautiously. What have you done with Sasuke? The masked man scoffed.
I've done nothing, but I can't promise that Itachi hasn't.
Kakashi's eyes widened.
Itachi!
Elsewhere, Sasuke stood there in awe as a flock of crows came together in a distant tree and formed into Itachi. Sasuke's face turned into a scowl. His teeth grit together. Itachi looked around. I see you still haven't attained the Mangekyo Sharingan. Shame. I had high hopes that you would actually become something resembling a challenge to me. Sasuke leapt from the branch in Itachi's direction, attempting to strike him. Itachi caught Sasuke's fists and used his momentum to throw him into a nearby tree. Sasuke bounced off the bark and landed on a branch where he attempted to get his bearings. Itachi spoke again. This is shameful. You disgrace your clan and your family name, but worst of all, you disrespect me. You dare carry the same genetics as I and refuse to grow stronger? You're nothing but an insult to me. Perhaps I should kill you here and now and wipe the stain of the Uchiha from the face of the earth. Then I can claim your eyes and reach the peak of potential that no shinobi has ever before attained. Sasuke went in to attack again. Kakashi rushed out to the masked individual as the two clashed kunai. You're strong, the masked man said, but it's too bad that you've lost your edge. The man passed through Kakashi entirely, becoming intangible. Below, Naruto had decided to forget about Genjutsu and go ahead with sealing the beast. Despite them telling him no, the sealing team rushed out there with him to protect him. Naruto began to launch adamantine chains to bind the beast. The masked man saw this and would cast Kurama under Genjutsu. He would then order the beast to fight back in an intelligent way. Naruto was struck by the Nine-Tails, knocked back quite a ways and knocked out. Jinchuriki candidate down, one of the sealing team members said over the headset. Naruto, Kakashi cried out. He would once more begin to attempt to strike the masked man. He would activate Chidori and rush him, but would pass right through, breaking through a few trees until eventually his hand got caught. He fought to pull it free, but the masked man was already behind him. You're nothing like you used to be, a shell of your former self. Kakashi broke free and turned around, swinging a kunai at the man. How do you know me? The man dodged back. I've been watching you the whole time. Kakashi attempted to understand how this intangibility worked. The more it was displayed for his Sharingan, the more he began to understand it. But even more, he noticed that when he would strike at the man would dodge it, and his eye would shift into a design not too far different from Kakashi's own Mangekyo. If it was possible that this masked man had stolen the other eye from Obito's corpse, then that meant that their abilities were likely linked. That meant this intangibility worked on the same wavelength as Kakashi's Kamui. If he focused it right, he might be able to cancel out the technique with his own Kamui. So Kakashi once again attempted a Chidori. He would rush the man. The man would sigh at how ignorant Kakashi was and prepared to turn intangible. But as Kakashi came in, he activated his Kamui and managed to strike the man in the right shoulder. The man cried out in pain and pulled himself free. He stood there, looking at Kakashi. It seems you're as clever as ever. The man's pure white arm fell from his sleeve like melted ice cream. I would play more, but I have more pressing matters to attend to, he said. The man would disappear, teleporting out with Kamui. Kakashi would rush back to the battle to see the man and Itachi standing atop the head of the Ninetales. They would suddenly disappear as the masked man pushed his Kamui to its limits beyond anything Kakashi thought was possible. They teleported out, along with the Ninetales. Kakashi stood there. Status. One of the Sealing Team members would reply over the radio. Naruto's down. He's in critical condition. He needs medical attention immediately. Kakashi then called out for Sasuke. Sasuke, respond. What's your status? There was no answer. Does anyone have eyes on Sasuke? Kakashi asked. He received no response. He would then make his way to the location where Sasuke was last seen. When he got there, he found Sasuke slumped up against a tree. Kakashi rushed over to check on him. He was still alive, but by the look in his eye, he was under genjutsu, likely Tsukiyomi. Kakashi gathered him up and made his way back to the group where he saw Naruto bloodied and bruised, a few bones protruding from his flesh. "Oh, my soul," was all Kakashi could say. "Everyone, get to this location. We need an emergency escape." What remained of their forces reconglomerated around them. They would then have the personal guard that had served under Minato Namikaze utilize the flying Raijin Jutsu to teleport them back to Konoha. There, they would have Naruto and Sasuke admitted to the hospital. Sasuke was in intensive care, and Naruto was in the operating room almost immediately where they were performing emergency surgery, not only to reconstruct his broken body, but to stop the internal bleeding and relieve pressure on his brain from the traumatic head injury he had received. This left Kakashi feeling helpless. All he could do was wait and watch. It wasn't long until Hiruzen appeared. "How is he?" Hiruzen asked. Kakashi looked to him. He's still in surgery now. His chances are about 50-50. Sasuke hasn't woken up, but seeing how long as he's been under and considering what Itachi's capable of, they're predicting severe psychological damage. Hiruzen would rub his temples and sigh. "What's the mission status?" The unknown group that Itachi and the masked man were a part of took the Ninetales. Hiruzen shook his head. "That was our last chance to end this war peacefully." Kakashi nodded. "Konoha is losing ground fast." Hiruzen continued. "I don't know how much longer we can last. We need to figure something out, or I fear Konoha will lose this war, and the village will cease to exist." And that's where I'm gonna call it for the day. What did you think about this one? I enjoyed this story quite a bit. I always enjoy following things from Kakashi's perspective. To be perfectly honest with you, I almost forgot that they were in the middle of the 4th Shinobi War there for a moment, but thankfully I jogged my memory. The capture mission of the Ninetales centering around Team 7 was something I thought would actually make a lot of sense, as the Sharingan would be their best chance to recapture the beast. But considering that the Uchiha no longer exist, Kakashi and Sasuke would be the only ones that could subdue the Ninetales with genjutsu, and considering Naruto's lineage, I thought it would make sense to have him attempt to capture the beast. But of course, he wouldn't actually capture it. Didn't you read the title? Alright. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like it and tell us your favorite part in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when more content like this drops. And hey, if you want more entertainment, who am I to say no? Take a look at these videos as well. See if you like them too. Until next time, peace.